My life has been full of ups and downs. It's hard to imagine just how level and happy I've been for many months now. The depression started around the end of primary school, and I spent most of my high school years pretty isolated and very unhappy. The first time I was in hospital, they dosed me full of antipsychotic drugs. They thought I had schizophrenia. I was over the top religious for years, always trying to be perfect for my God. But when I was in hospital, I threw away all that religious devotion. I felt God had deserted me. I have bipolar disorder. The depressive episodes far outweighed the manic. Sometimes I still long for them, the manic episodes. That's when I felt powerful, creative, outgoing, indestructible. Till I seen how much devastation I caused. Bills, all the things I'd bought, plays, musical events, enrolments I'd booked and would never attend. Many of the ups have been very unhealthy, and most of the downs too. It all usually ended in catastrophe and hospitalisation. I became anorexic when I was very young, about 12, and that's when I had the first manic episode. Do you know, even now, I'm sure at that time I just knew I could actually really fly. God told me everything I would need to know, and that I was destined to minister to everyone, the whole world, as a missionary doctor. I remember once, one fantastic manic episode triggered by one of the old antidepressants. I raced around at rapid fire speed, making decisions in calculations of great importance. Other times I would make crazily outlandish plans. I knew everything about the universe, and I talked for hours and hours with other psychotic patients in the hospital. Unfortunately, all those plans I made when I was manic were impossible to carry out. And I would collapse into the inevitable depression which followed. This is a cycle that just went on and on and on and on. I was a good daughter to my parents. Good little girl. Till puberty. That's when I rebelled. I became depressed and anorexic. I was very sick and malnourished. Caused a lot of chaos in my teen years. You know, I should have been developing and discovering who I was in the world, and developing skills that would help me through the rest of my life. But my weight plummeted and I looked very pale. Even so, I used to walk vast distances and exercise for hours and weigh myself every chance I got. And when I ate, I felt so disgusted with myself. I would often vomit. This went on for over 20 years. They didn't know much about anorexia nervosa in the 60s. It took the doctors 6 years to diagnose me after showing the first signs of illness. And by then, my family were so angry and upset with me that they seemed relieved when I was finally admitted to hospital and they could let the doctors deal with me. They weren't like today's parents. Mine thought my illness was my problem. They didn't want anything to do with it. They wanted nothing to do with my therapy. I had very little to do with the rest of my family for about 14 years. And it was extremely difficult to re-establish ties. I started studying medicine in my late teens. I'd always been a brilliant student until then. Even topped my first year at uni. But my illnesses interfered with my ability to learn. I was fanatically religious at the time, and I developed severe anxiety. And I had fairly low self-worth. It made the practical aspects of my studies almost impossible. But somehow, I passed the exams. During those chaotic years and with terribly low self-confidence, I married another mentally disturbed patient. 7 years of hell. It was while I was hospitalised on one particular occasion that the staff helped me see that I could escape from that marriage if I wanted to. And I did. I moved interstate to work in a big hospital. They admired me as a young doctor for being conscientious and caring, and being dedicated to investigating anything I didn't already know. But my illnesses took over on several occasions, and I found myself hospitalised for both the bipolar disorder and the anorexia. It's a shame I didn't have a normal adolescence. I wasn't confident in my own decisions. And so when I married again, to a much older man, I knew it wasn't a good idea. I didn't have the confidence to say no. I was lucky to have had the help from a very patient and kind doctor who helped me build up my self-confidence and sense of worth. The children were a miracle, really, considering my illnesses. I'd always considered myself sexless and infertile. My periods stopped soon after they began because of the anorexia. So when I married again, the second time, my doctor insisted I go on the pill. By some miracle, I fell pregnant as soon as I came off the pill. My kids were the best thing to come out of what was otherwise a loveless marriage. they also became the main reason to get well, to stay alive. Skipping forward to the last 4 or 5 years, my psychologist has helped me gain self-confidence in social situations and in dealing with my illness in general. I still have periods of depression, but on the whole, I'm feeling well and more hopeful. My children have grown into wonderful adults, and they bring so much happiness into my life. They're making their way in life without the hiccups I had. And I have grandchildren now. I get a lot of satisfaction for being a family doctor, despite the hardships of all those years of studying to become one. And you know, I've come to the conclusion I'm good enough. I'm a good mother, a good doctor. I'm good enough for this world. I like to travel, to see places here in Australia and overseas. I have lots of hobbies. I exercise, relax, and eat well. My life is on an even keel. It's fruitful, rewarding. I might even say, it's a happy life.